Good afternoon and welcome back to another ironic introduction to another video. Today I'm going to be doing Hitmonkey's abilities as fast as possible, as well as giving my first impressions. That said, let's dive right in. So Hitmonkey is a skill champion. His 5-star stats are 25,606 HP, 2,865 attack, notably top 3, and 10,640 PI, notably top 10. His awakened ability is while the opponent is a hashtag mercenary or above 25% HP, Assassin's Cunning and Primal Rage last 3.5 seconds longer, while below 25% or hashtag mercenary passively reduces defense ability accuracy by 40%. He has a passive called Nunchaku where both his mediums and his first light attack are guaranteed critical hits. He can do 3 crits in a row to inflict a 4.5 second bleed for 44% of his attack. Note that 3 critical hits in a row can be across multiple combos. 3 crits in a row also grant Monkey Scheme, which you can then block or dodge to convert Monkey Schemes into Assassin's Cunning for 8 seconds, or attack/get hit to convert Monkey Scheme into Primal Rage for 8 seconds. Note you can do a 5 or 4 hit combo, then do a medium light to always trigger Primal Rage. Against hashtag mercenary champions, you always trigger both. When he is knocked down, you trigger both, but for 6 seconds. And when the opponent evades, you trigger Assassin's Cunning, or you refresh Primal Rage, or both, but this has a 15-second cooldown, and you cannot gain Monkey's Scheme while under the effect of Assassin's Cunning and or Primal Rage. Assassin's Cunning prevents 60% chance to evade while not blocking. It also prevents evade, and evading does remove Assassin's Cunning. Bleeds from Nunchaku are critical bleeds. Chance to crit bleed is based on critical chance. Every 3 critical hits landed in a row increases chance for crit bleeds. Primal Rage, you ignore the opponent's armor/resistances. 100% chance to purify one of each stun and damage over time effect when one is inflicted on you, or when Primal Rage activates. Also removes Primal Rage when you purify and debuff this way. And you have a 20 to 65% chance that light hits will disorient the opponent based on the number of hits landed during Primal Rage. His special one, if AC is active, this attack has vigilance and cannot miss, and if PR is active, the attack is unblockable. If this attack causes a miss to fail or breaks a block, refresh AC and PR, and you gain vigilance and unblockable until AC or PR expires. If you have a special 2, it activates immediately. If you activate it immediately after critting, this special crits completely. Is a total of 7 hits, so 7 guaranteed crits, and AC and PR are paused during this special. Special 3 gives you a 27-second cruelty buff. While this cruelty is active, AC and PR are paused for 0.3 seconds when striking the opponent. So that is Hitmonkey's abilities. I've got a lot of thoughts. So first off, my initial impressions is this guy's kind of spotty at best. I think there's a lot of potential, kind of depending on the critical damage rating. The damage could be really, really solid. Like top 3 in the damage department just on raw attack is nothing to shake a stick at. But if his damage, like crit damage rating is like abysmal, it doesn't mean anything. And it's really easy to like immediately compare this guy to like Ghost or Corvus Glaive or the other champions who have guaranteed crits. But it's like important to remember that like Corvus Glaive gets a lot of ramp up, so his crits get nutty. And Ghost is like, her crits get insanely big from like Ant-Man boosts and buffs on her natural champion. And Hitmonkey doesn't really have that outside of his special 3. So if the crit damage rating is like really lackluster, or even if it's amazing, it doesn't really do much more beyond giving him potentially really good to excellent damage, and that's kind of like a baseline expectation / needed damage rating to push Act 6 content. So in my opinion, this is really cool. It'd be awesome if you pull him like as one of your first 5 stars and that damage is really solid. But whenever I see a new champion and I'm like, wow, great damage potential, I'm not super impressed, because honestly, like when a champion doesn't have a great damage potential, they're just kind of completely ignored in the first place. It's just a baseline expectation, so hopefully he meets up to standards. Other comments are the fact that you will have buffs on your champion to kind of show all of these things, so you can accurately track those without having to like really count it in your head, which is really cool. Like the number of critical hits landed will show and count for when you get those, as well as like Assassin's Cunning has its own individual buff. Primal Rage has its own individual buff. I think these are really good additions to the character. As well as, based on the description, I was under the impression that Assassin's Cunning, or while Assassin's Cunning is active, that you would have a 100% chance to critical bleed, because like in order to trigger a bleed, you need to go like medium, light, medium, or combo chain into like medium, light, medium, medium, light. And your chance to crit on a medium or your first light attack is 100%. So and it's always triggering on a critical hit. So I was just kind of under the impression your critical chance is 100%, but based on the description of this ability, it looks like they mean his raw like critical chance, which I think is really, really weak. I would have liked more clarity there. I really, really hate picking that, but like, it would have been nice if it was guaranteed critical bleeds, because then we start seeing the difference between like, oh, great damage, that's a baseline expectation, and like, oh, great damage, that's going to be an amazing champion for Do You Bleed. Just kind of a missed opportunity there. The anti-evade that he has on Assassin's Cunning, which prevents evade, it looks spotty at best. Like, first off, you have to block or dodge to trigger it, which then puts you into the second of like where you're timing out, and let's say you don't have him awakened, 8 seconds is not a long time, and honestly even 11.5 seconds if like, let's say he's max awakened, because I believe the plus 3.5 seconds is probably based on max awakening, but even if it's Sig 1, let's say 11.5 seconds is really not the longest period of time. You can maybe get 2 to 4 combos off. Not even 4 full combos, but like 4 combos if you're backdraft intercepting and the AI is playing super, super aggressive. It's just not good. I don't know what the logic there was having on that buff be so short. I wouldn't have minded, but then they put the like thing where you can't gain Monkey Scheme while those buffs are active, so there's no way to have those buffs be permanently active. It just takes a lot away from this character from my initial impressions. I'll have to wait and see if that feels as short as it sounds, but to me it just sounds incredibly short on his utility, and any kind of disparity in utility or holes in utility makes you lean away from it. Like, if you're looking for anti-evade, this isn't really your first pick, because you just want someone who just has guaranteed True Strike. Which moves me on to like his special 1, which has a lot of potential for utility. I really like the concept of the anti-miss. It looks like it could have a lot of potential, because on a special 1, right, like on miss champions, a lot of the time they're not champions that you're guaranteed missing, right? So that might be like a falter node where you typically would get around it with skill mechanics anyways, like MLM anyways, which is like, wow, look, Hitmonkey's already doing the alternate damage rotation. You would then be able to do like a medium special 1 intercept, right? Which would be really, really cool. And that would provide you like the guaranteed miss, or like you could intentionally throw it into a block, and then you would have a period of time where you would be unblockable and couldn't miss. This could be really, really good in a lot of scenarios, especially for node interactions. But again, part of that depends on Kabam and how much they put that into the game, which personally I think miss in the first place is really frustrating. So I don't like seeing that in another champion, because the more anti-miss utility we have, the more we're going to see it in the game. So it's kind of a double-edged sword, but I think it's got potential. It just, you know, it's still also reliant on a very, very short active or passive buff in the first place, which I don't like. His special 2 could be really, really big damage, but I don't like the concept that like you have to choose between damage and utility. Like you get damage or you get utility, and the special 2 very much so emphasizes that. I don't like that. I really, really, really disagree with that whole playstyle. I feel like it's unnecessary, and I don't know when we switched into that method. Like champions, a lot of like the best champions have access to their utility without being special reliant, and even when they are like limited by like their specials, like Clairvoyant for example, the utility is just absolutely amazing because it's like a huge regen, and even then like Clairvoyant's biggest utility kits, which is Nullify and Buff immunity, are active guaranteed from special 2, so you can pick damage and regeneration, or damage or regeneration and guaranteed buff immunity, or you're nullifying, which is just on basic attacks, which you're getting anyways. So I don't like when they put these like pick 1 instances, and even on Claire I felt like that's one of the biggest downfalls for her. So seeing that on Hitmonkey is kind of a disappointment. I'd like to see more consistent utility. Like, give champions utility and make it permanent, make it guaranteed, make it consistent, and you can put it behind a skill wall. You could make it, you know, challenging to keep up, totally, but make it have value. The more holes you put in a champion's utility, the more holes you put into their access, the less I feel they are reliable, and less reliable a champion is, honestly, the less value they have overall. So a little ranty there, but I think I made my point. And then finally is the special 3, which honestly looks solid. Like a 27 cruelty for 1,000 plus critical damage rating is actually really solid, pairs very well with Hitmonkey's guaranteed crits, but 0.3 second pause on hit is not very long, and even with like an 11.5 second AC/PR, that's not great. I think the only way I could see this potentially being good is if his special 3 counts as like 10 hits or something, in which case it would technically be a 3-second pause if it triggers when you throw the special 3. But even like the special 2, if you have like you throw the special 2, you get 7 hits, right? That's 2.1 seconds in addition to the pause duration from the entirety of the special 2. After you've thrown the special 2, you immediately probably have to bait a special, and you just immediately lost that entire pause duration. So just my gut instinct is to say I would like to see the passive buffs be probably closer to 14 seconds base, with 3.5 seconds additional from the Awakened ability plus the ability to pause, or have the pause duration added, make 0.6 seconds, or even like honestly 0.7, like significantly higher, because 0.3 is not a lot. So that's Hitmonkey. He's got potential. There are a lot of holes, a lot of gaps I'd like to see, clarity on / see gameplay on to understand whether or not they're a gap or whether or not it's just, a minor weakness that's, outplayed with skill and consistent gameplay. But my gut instinct is to say this guy is spotty at best, and he's just looking like another damage powerhouse with like fairly limited utility. But we'll see. We'll have to see on launch. Those are my gut instincts. I'm going to go ahead and throw out a guess here and say he's probably going to be a fairly niche utility rank up, the same way one might rank up Mysterio for Poison. That said, I hope you all appreciate it. I always enjoy making these, and I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.